everyone, it's Ken and Andrea here from Northern Viking Explorer, and today we want to share with you our 10 fears and questions that we have about our upcoming Caribbean cruise on Royal Caribbean's Adventure of the Seas.
Have you ever booked a vacation and you wonder now if you've made a mistake? Are you going to be happy with your choice? You've got some questions and possibly some fears. So we're going to ask our questions and some of the things we think you'll be wondering as well.
So the way this is going to work is we are going to ask our questions now before we've set sail. Then we're going to come back to you after the cruise and answer these questions and fears. So let's go ahead and dive right into our 10 fears and questions about the Adventure of the Seas. So we checked in about 3 hours after check-in opened online, and we checked in together, and weirdly enough, I got an 11 a.m. check-in time.
And I got an 11:30, so I guess they like him more.
We plan on being there right away, and I'm curious what time we'll actually get on the ship, being that we have an 11 and 11:30 check-in time.
Now, I actually am more fearful or afraid of our disembarkation time. I want to know how early we can get off that ship because we booked a 1 o'clock flight out of Orlando and I'm hoping it's not a problem.
So we actually arrived quite early, an hour and 15 minutes early at 9:45. Everything went far more efficient than we expected. We returned our rental car. That had to be back for 10 and they shuttled us over right away.
It worked out quite well. They actually opened the doors at 10 o'clock to begin checking people in.
Through security.
We were through security and checked in by 10:10, and we were on the ship at 10:40, and it was completely a non-issue that we had different check-in times.
Nor was it an issue in our situation anyhow that we had an 11 and an 11:30 check-in. We tried to kind of stick to that, but we just ended up there early and it turned into being a non-issue.
It worked well for us.
Now, self-disembarkation, this is what we were actually worried about.
We were concerned about this. And again, this is one of those things that we cannot promise that this will happen on your sailing. They cleared our ship to self-disembark at 6:45.
Yeah, so we were doing self-disembarkation. So 6:45, they made the announcement. We were still kind of eating breakfast.
We weren't quite ready.
Yeah.
So this is when you take your suitcase or all your luggage off yourself. So we left the ship at 7. We were in our lift by 7:25.
Yeah, going to Orlando or MCO. So we got there at 8:07 in the morning.
We were there actually too early to even check our bags in.
So our check-in for bags didn't start till 9:20 or 9:10 or something like that, 4 hours before our flight. So yeah, we had plenty of time. Now, again, every situation's different, but for us, it worked out really well. And the lift fare was $95 before tip to go there. And that was with the extra comfort lift.
With the Camry.
That was a Toyota Camry. So plenty of space for 2 large suitcases and our carry-on stuff. So it worked out quite well. And we were happy with all the timing for getting on and off the ship. So we booked my time dining in the main dining room for dinner. That means we can book different times for every day for our dining. So it's not an early time or a late time. It's just whenever we would like to go for dinner.
And generally with Royal Caribbean, we've made our reservations before our sailing, and I've been watching closely for them to open up. Unfortunately, they opened up a month before our cruise date, and we were in the middle of a family emergency at that time, and we weren't able to get into booking our reservations till a week after it opened.
So most of our dining times ended up being later, around 7 or even later at night. And we like to eat earlier, kind of that 5 to 6 range. Will we be able to change our dining times when we're on the ship? Because those dining times are already full online. So my time dining started at 6:45 p.m. on the Adventure of the Seas.
Shortly after we got on board, we went and spoke to the maitre d'. And he had a great option for us.
Yes.
He said if we could commit to coming at 6:30 every night, we could be seated at 6:30 and have the same table.
Yes, with the same wait staff in the same section. It was really good. It was definitely well worth doing. So it was earlier than my time dining, but later than the early dining. It worked out well. We were one away from the window. And actually that window seat, half the time there was nobody there.
And I noticed too that most of the tables around us were the same groups every night doing the same thing. So we actually got to know the tables around us.
So it was really good. So if you're struggling with the dining times, I think our recommendation is just go talk to the maitre d', and they might be able to work something out for you that will work well.
So another question that we have is, when will formal night be, and how many formal nights will there be on an 8-night sailing? Now, I'm curious if they'll fall on a port day, because I think that would make it a little more challenging to get ready for dinner.
Well, we have 4 port days. And actually what I'm curious about, will there be complimentary lobster on the formal night as well?
So there were 2 formal nights on our 8-night sailing.
So on the second night, so the first sea day, as well as the 7th night out of 8. So that was the second to last sea day.
Yes, so it did work out to be both sea days, which is really helpful, especially if you want to dress up or curl your hair or do that kind of thing.
And they called it, like in the paperwork, it was called Dress Your Best is what it was called. People definitely dressed up more than the average night, but I didn't see a lot of tuxes or anything like that. A lot of shirts and ties, and or just collared shirts as well. So they were very enjoyable, excellent food. And yes, on the second formal night, they did have lobster available complimentary.
What? And what did you do that was different with
So
your lobster?
we both did this. So we ordered the steak dinner with a lobster on the side, which was nice. So they kind of made a surf and turf, which was all complimentary.
And then you got the potatoes too.
So it was the sides from the steak dinner with the lobster on the side. I prefer the potato rather than the rice or whatever comes with the lobster. So I was really happy about that.
Me too. Are there any theme nights or parties on Royal Caribbean's Adventure of the Seas? And should we be packing any clothing or accessories for these events?
So we didn't specifically pack for any of the theme nights or parties, but you definitely could if you wanted to.
It was fun looking at the cruisers, though, who had brought outfits or costumes for some of the events. Some people really go all out for it, but you don't need to. You can participate in everything, even if you don't pack for it.
So there are kind of the main parties and themes on there. Of course, there's smaller things on there. The main ones that we kind of found, well, the first one, of course, is the Sail Away Dance Party, which is always big on a cruise as we were sailing out of Port Canaveral. That was fun.
That is. And of course, there's no real costume for that or outfit. It's
just your cruise wear. The one we didn't go to is the Shush Silent Party. So that's, I guess, where you wear the headphones and dance silently. That was in the Blue Moon.
That was an 18 plus, so that wasn't a family event.
Yeah, I think they may have had some ones for youth as well.
Later, yes.
Later in the cruise. Yeah. But that was later at night at 10 o'clock on deck 14. Now, some of the bigger main parties, they had the greatest 80s party ever. That was in the Royal Promenade.
So that's fun to go watch and check out and listen to the music.
All the 80s songs and the dancers come out. They do it. The hosts are up on the bridge in the middle of the Royal Promenade and leading the kind of dancing. And there's a whole bunch of them out there kind of dressed up. It's a fun time.
It is fun to
watch. A lot of people in the atrium area, or not the atrium, the Royal Promenade.
It's very busy.
Yeah. So that would be probably one of your biggest ones, if not the biggest. There was a Caribbean party by the pool deck. Now, we didn't actually go to that one, but on the Caribbean night for dinner, a lot of people were wearing like Hawaiian style shirts or Caribbean shirts. So something like this was very common.
And all the staff, too, were wearing Caribbean shirts in the main dining room. And I saw a lot of couples wearing matching Caribbean Hawaiian style shirts, which was really cute and fun that they got into.
Which is always fun regardless in the Caribbean. But if you have a Hawaiian shirt or a Caribbean style shirt, I would probably bring that on the cruise.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. And then the other big party, I think one of the bigger ones, would have been the 70s Disco Inferno Dance Party.
I saw some great outfits too. Like some people went all out on this, and it was fun to see.
And that was again in the Royal Promenade with in the archway there, and dressed up. All the staff and dance or entertainment staff are dressed up and leading that. So
and teaching some 70s dance moves too.
So those would have been the main parties and theme nights that we had during our 8-night sailing. We know there's going to be different shows and entertainment on the Adventure of the Seas, and do these require tickets or reservations to attend? And if so, how do we book them?
So the only thing we personally reserved was our ice skating time.
And that wasn't even a show. That was more of an entertainment, the free skate in the Studio B. So the show, the ice skating show, didn't require tickets. It was first come, first serve. It was free. So that was great. all of the events and shows in the main lyric theater, we didn't need tickets or to reserve times for. So the theater is quite large actually, so it was nice you just show up ahead of time. I mean, definitely the best seats go right away, but we didn't have problems getting seats for anything, and we didn't have to book tickets, so it was really nice. So if you're still watching, you're probably getting some value or you're enjoying this video. If you can go ahead and hit that subscribe button, it would really help us out in growing this channel. The Adventure of the Seas maiden voyage was in 2001, and then it was enhanced in 2018. Will the ship feel old or will it feel modern with the enhancement from 2018? Will it feel worn out?
I felt that the ship showed its age in the cabin, but not really overall in the whole ship.
Yeah, let's start out with the cabin quickly. I felt like the cabinetry was well worn.
Like, yeah, the drawers were kind of rough when you pulled them open.
And one of them you could tell had been repaired.
Or not really repaired.
Not really repaired. It wasn't very smooth. The TV, a flat screen, looked like it had been
Oh, definitely.
added after, kind of in the wrong spot by our feet.
It's way too low. I appreciate there's a flat screen TV in there, but it's not modern design.
The room was comfortable and nice, but definitely well worn. Even around the window, you could tell there's a lot of extra buildup, not like it was a brand new ship. I mean, they do their best to clean it up, but you can tell it's a little bit aged that way.
I will say though, like the mattress was comfortable. Like that part of it didn't seem worn out.
No.
And the linens and all of that were all very nice.
Yes, I would agree. The main part of the ship, I didn't walk around noticing that's broken and that's broken. I have on other ships. It was very well maintained. We saw people painting. For being a 24-year-old ship and with the upgrades, it felt fairly modern.
Well, the colors too were very nice. The spaces, the design of the venues were very pleasant to look at. Nothing felt tacky or like, oh, that's so old.
Yeah.
It felt modern in those venues.
And it did have a lot of the modern amenities for Royal Caribbean, the flow rider, of course the water slides, rock climbing wall. Even the loungers I didn't notice any of them broken.
No, they were all in
They
good
were all
condition.
in good condition. The Royal Promenade is beautiful. It's beautiful through there. The stores feel more modern and Royal Promenade. It's really nice, but then yet it still had the classic theater and dining room.
The nice layout that you like in the classic cruising.
Yeah. So overall, it didn't feel old and worn out, but maybe a little bit in the cabin.
Frequently on our Royal Caribbean sailings in the past, there's been large group functions happening.
On our first Royal Caribbean cruise, actually our first cruise ever, we were on the Mariner of the Seas, and there was a Santa Claus convention, and that was one of my favorite memories, all the Santa Clauses on the ship, and I have a photo with Santa Claus in Puerto Vallarta.
Now, I've seen online that there happens to be a large Elvis Presley function happening on this cruise, and I'm wondering how it will impact the cruise, and I'm actually wondering if I'm going to be jealous that I'm not a part of it. Yes, I was jealous because it looked and sounded like they were having a lot of fun.
It did.
There were times where some of the venues were closed because for a private function, and I could hear the singing coming, and I wanted to see what was going on, and I couldn't.
You know, I didn't even really notice a lot of people that looked like Elvis walking around the ship. I noticed a lot of people wearing Elvis Presley shirts and different things like that, and maybe some extra sideburns.
Definitely the sideburns.
But I didn't notice Elvis Presley's walking around the ship, or like imitation of Elvis
Not
Presley.
too many.
No.
Not too many. Where I did notice it though was in the karaoke, because I believe a lot of the people there for the Elvis Presley also enjoy karaoke. So it was very difficult to get into that event.
More than normal difficult to get into the karaoke because I don't want to say it was taken over, but that group definitely enjoyed their karaoke and went early.
So that was probably my only sad part is we even tried going in well in advance, and even the shows before the karaoke were full.
Yeah.
They were holding their seats.
So, but even our Washi Washi guy got into some of the karaoke, or not karaoke, some of the Elvis stuff. And it actually was a fun atmosphere, a fun twist to our cruise. So did it impact it? Maybe minimally with the karaoke and how busy it was, but overall, it just kind of created a fun atmosphere on the cruise. We booked an Ocean View guaranteed cabin. This is where Royal Caribbean picks our cabin for us in that category. And our cabin assignment came as one with an adjoining door to the next cabin. We're wondering if this is going to be a problem with noise being connected to a different room.
This also means, too, that we will not be getting a couch in our cabin and that we will be getting a chair instead, because that makes room for the adjoining door. However, this may not be the issue for us in the end, because we did put in an offer on a Royal Up cabin upgrade, and we'll see if we get it or not.
So first off, I'll say we did not win the Royal Up upgrade. We bid above the minimum, but didn't go overly high on our bids. So we ended up in our Ocean View room with the adjoining door.
And I would say it was definitely a little bit noisier. I could not hear our neighbors on the side that did not have the joining door, but on the side with the joining door, I could hear them talking. The TV, I felt like I could even hear paper moving sometimes.
I definitely heard the TV and them talking. So it was definitely louder than the other side or other cabins we've been in. That being said, right away when we got on the ship, we went to guest services and asked if they had a fan.
And that was a game changer, because that just drowned out any noise. And thankfully, our neighbors, though, were very quiet next to us, so it really wasn't too much of an issue. But it definitely is noisier than a standard cabin.
And the fan, we had a good chuckle.
Yeah.
Because we thought it was going to be a little fan. It was a jumbo fan.
And now about the couch. I was actually surprised. I didn't really miss the couch because I enjoyed the extra space to move around the cabin.
Yeah.
We used some of that space to line our shoes up, to have that wall space. And there wasn't a coffee table in our cabin either. So it was easy for us to pass each other and move around.
Yeah.
I didn't feel so claustrophobic.
Well, one thing I want to say about that, when we were on the sister ship, the Navigator of the Seas, we had a full couch in our inside cabin. So the cabin was a slight bit smaller. And the couch there was in the way.
Made it hard to get to the side of the bed.
Yeah.
So access.
I actually kind of preferred the chair.
And you can move it around, a little more flexibility.
Because there was the stool, so two people could still sit. So it was fine. And like you said, it gave a little bit more space for some of our stuff.
It was good.
So who is this cruise for?
Now, this cruise is happening over spring break, so I am sure there will be a lot of families. But I am curious who Royal Caribbean's Adventure of the Sea caters to. On our sailing, there were cruisers of all ages and all kinds of groups traveling, from families to couples to young families to seniors to Elvis Presley fans. And I felt that there was something for everybody.
They do cater for everyone. I mean, it's definitely more, I would say, more catered towards families. But if you're into music, that more mature kind of bar scene, there's the bars with music playing, beautiful music, as well as in the Royal Promenade or in the theater, karaoke, all that kind of stuff. But then if you're a family, there's all the amenities for that as well.
Plus lots of game shows for families and activities. But then there are the adult comedy at night. So there's definitely a big variety.
Trivia.
Different events, something for everybody. Now, if you're looking for a very quiet sailing that doesn't have children, I would say this is probably not the cruise ship for you, just because I would say the pool area that was adult only is still an area where families can walk through. And so if you're wanting that secluded adult only area, it's not really the ship for you.
So why would or wouldn't we book a cruise on Royal Caribbean's Adventure of the Seas again? So despite the room showing its age and the ship having some wear and tear for being 24 years old, yes, we would book the Adventure of the Seas again.
I love this class of ship. It has the most beautiful dining room. It has an amazing theater with plenty of seats. The Royal Promenade, I mean, that's a classic. It's great for entertaining or strolling back and forth if the weather's bad, a place to walk and hang out.
Yeah.
It's a really great ship. Plus, it's got the new amenities.
Yeah. So the amenities, of course, the slides. There was 2 large slides, the pools, the bigger hot tubs, flow rider, rock climbing, and lots of loungers.
Lots of loungers. A little tricky to get one by the pool during some peak times, but if you don't mind being around the corner or on a different deck. There
Up
was
on deck
lots.
13 at the front, there was a ton of loungers. So
Lots.
not by the pool, but yeah, that was a great feature that there was tons of loungers.
Which is really important when you're out at sea and you like
Mm-hmm.
the sun.
The other thing I really like about this ship, on deck 4, you go outside on deck 4 on the kind of promenade there, and then you go up the stairs. You can go right out to the front of the ship.
Oh, that's one of my favorites. And that's where they have the, like, you'll see that big H for the helicopter if they have to do
Yeah.
an emergency evac is there.
You can do your King of the World impression out at the front of the ship. And
It is so nice out there.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
and other things, even that, like the entertainment was really good, especially the music on our sailing. Like the music was really good.
It's some of the best like music I've seen in a while.
Mm-hmm.
I really love that they had a band, the orchestra,
Mm-hmm.
and like from trombone players and trumpets and saxophones. I love that.
Mm-hmm. And even the other things, the small things, like the Studio B show was excellent. And they opened it up for ice skating as well.
It was fun, really
So
fun.
we went out there. It was mostly kids when we went out there, but it was still a lot of fun.
I think we're the only
Scooter,
adults
so.
out there at the moment.
I mean, to say that, we've sailed on this class of ship. I think it's our third ship in this class that we've sailed on. And it has a special place in our heart. Our first cruise was on the Mariner of the Seas. So we really like this class of ship. And, you know, yes, we would sail on it again. It's our third time on this class and our first time on the adventure. And I really enjoyed it.
I would agree.
So hope this video gave you some value. If it did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on upcoming cruising videos. And we have a whole bunch of Royal Caribbean Adventure of the Seas videos coming up that we want to share with you. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, take care.